Back again for another the Balcony Chronicles. Oh man, get this out the way, out that way. Let me see. All right, adjust the camera a little bit. How y'all doing tonight? Doing very well. I got my Cavassier. And a beautiful Sunday night, Sunday evening, listening to Nasty Nate going on a 2-hour rant about Charlemagne the God being a sexual deviant. Now, we're going to talk about that later. But right now, there's just so much I wanted to talk to you about. I just wanted to talk about my life a little bit. About 20 years ago, and imagining how life would be different if I wasn't with my girlfriend at the time, wasn't a baby mama. Okay, I can't figure it out. Maybe because I believed in black women, especially women in general, but I believed in black women. I don't know why I did it. But I didn't have but you know what? I didn't have the information out then than I do now with YouTube, with the manosphere. See, my days of listening to brothers talking about black American women, black women in general, because it's not. It's been going on for years, and it's going on too long. And I'm here to just tell you, look, it's not just black women. All women have a level of bullshit, bullshit that you have to deal with. All right? They're all the same. They just have different bullshit that they're gonna throw at you. All right? Now, when you leave this country, yes, dating becomes a little bit easier. But the bullshit is there. The bullshit is always there. So here in the United States, the bullshit is at the 25th power when you're dealing with American women, particularly black American women. All right, you know, there's so much game and so much intricacy. It's almost like an art and science trying to get with these hoes. All right. I was having a discussion with my sister about a month ago. Well, a couple of months ago. And I began to understand why Pookie and Ray Ray always have so much success with black women in general, but particularly black women. Because, to be truthful, they are interesting in some aspects. You know, they're not like timid and meek, scared of women. Because I'm not scared of women. I mean, I'm not scared to talk to anyone. It's just that I don't want to talk to some of these women. It's not worth the time to even talk to. And I'm an old man. I can recognize a woman that's interesting enough to talk to, and ones that, you know, here comes the bullshit. You want to know what the bullshit? Let me just explain what the bullshit, what I'm talking about. All right. Remember when I talked about my buddy who was with this white woman about a couple of months ago, right? I didn't tell you the story about the bullshit he had to go through. All right. First of all, he met this woman on a dating site. And I think he told me it was Bumble and some bullshit like that. Where the women actually go after the men. I want to know how long this dating site or dating app is still in business. I want to know how long it is. Maybe they making money off the suckers, the men who actually subscribe to this shit, thinking that some broad is actually gonna message you out of the blue and then want to talk to you. All right, so getting back to this story with this bullshit, they chatted for about a week. He told me she was a principal upstate New York, some city upstate New York, right? All right. So the bullshit is that you know they went up, had a date, and hit it off. That's what he told me. All right. Had a second date, had a third date, and after the third date, she broke it off. So he was smart enough just to delete her phone number. Said, all right, whatever, bitch, and go on with his life. Now here's where the bullshit begins, right? With these women. Out of the blue, she texts him back saying, hey, how's everything? He said, everything's good. You know, I don't know what that was all about. What that was about is that you were coming off of a relationship and I didn't think you were ready. I'm like, bitch, I'm just dating. I just want to find out if I like you. I ain't trying to marry you. That's what he was telling me. You see, the bullshit is that fast forward, they went back out on the date, and then tragedy hit her home. I think one of her ex-son-in-law unexpectedly died of a drug overdose, and then broke it off again. Offered friendship to her, and then somehow they got back together. They not really together. They started dating again. Now this bitch wanted him to work as a substitute teacher up in upstate New York. I'm like looking at this nigga. I'm like, nigga, excuse my language. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm like, my brother, you live in the Bronx. There are teaching jobs here, and you're not even a teacher. What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't let that bitch talk you into going in the field that you may not be ill-equipped to do. What the fuck is wrong with you? So he goes through the process. This bitch have him call one of her colleagues to talk about the teaching process and shit. And then out of the blue, she just breaks up with him. Well, not break up with him, but just stop talking. Just said, hey, I don't think it's going to work out. And I'm like, this is about the third time that this bitch pulled that shit. All you need is 3 times, man. Just block that bitch number, man. That bitch ain't shit. She's about bullshit. She up here talking about marriage and shit. And you barely know each other. See, that's the bullshit I'm talking about, fellas. That you have to deal with American women. Unfortunately, my dude allowed the bullshit to continue. Should have just left that bitch alone. Alright? There's bitches all over the place where you could just go in the bar, just talk to some hoe, get their number, be interesting, be fly, be yourself, nigga. That's all you have to do is just be yourself. Fuck all that, man. And if the bitch don't like you, well, fuck her. Fuck her. Fuck her all the hell. She ain't shit anyway. See, you gotta take the fun out of the bullshit when you're dealing with these hoes. See, it's a lot complicated because with American women, it's just, boom. The bullshit is already, I'll put it to you this way. You know why a lot of niggas don't like Kevin Samuels? And I watched this video. I watched this show. I watched his videos even before he blew up. And he was giving out some practical advice for black folks, giving out to dress better, to change your image, take control of your image. I mean, think about it like this. I've never seen what he's doing is somewhat unique. I've never seen a brother sit through a 2, maybe 3-hour show with a suit on, candles all over the place, and fragrances. And that's another thing. He was doing videos on fragrances and shit. So I'm like, expensive, high-end fragrances. So you can be smelling good, nigga. It's all right. If it's too weak, if you have to break the bank, nigga. You gotta change your life. You gotta change your image. You have to go out there and be interesting to these hoes, to these American hoes. I didn't write the rules, but that's what that's what you gotta do. The real reason why niggas, especially these dating coaches, and they're all not because of he's their competitor. It's just that Kevin Samuels point out the bullshit that these women display that's out there, that they run on these men. I'm like, the other day there was a woman that was a baby mama that had 2 children with 2 different men, and she was talking all that hot cash shit about the men that she dates is not on her level. While she's just a stay-at-home, she's not even a stay-at-home mom. She's just staying at home with 2 children, two different fathers. And I'm like saying to myself, and he's like saying, "You're not marriage material, ma'am," and you're really not. See, there was a day 40 years ago, where women who had a child, they would just appreciate that a man would come into her life and take in her and her bastard child. Okay? Took care of her, took care of him, raised that child as if he was his own, and then they were a family. Nowadays, it's like, and I blame the 90s, because as men, we allowed these women to think that they're queens, that they should be appreciated, that they're the prize. They're not the prize. You're the prize, young man. You should not be with no goddamn baby mama like I was 20 years ago. See, I felt, I was involved in the bullshit with this woman. Having me run up my credit cards worth a damn. Bitch did not want to work. She did not really want to work. She didn't want to start a business. She didn't want to work. She didn't want to go back to school. I'm up here taking care of her fat ass mama, and her son. Now I spoke to her baby daddy, and we started chopping it up. And he had a lot of things going on in his life. Now, if I had my 47-year-old brain 20 years ago, I would have chopped it up with him, and I would have realized that this woman is on some bullshit, and I would have left that bitch alone. Okay? Now, I wouldn't be surprised 20 years later. Full disclosure, I met this bitch on a dating site back then. Stay off that goddamn dating site, man, because let me tell you something that's on these dating sites, right? It's nothing but dating on these dating sites. There's nothing but baby mamas, old women, broke women, okay? Women that have crazy ass women and transsexuals. Now, how the fuck do you have transsexuals on a dating site? I've seen this shit. Trannies on a dating site looking for men. I'm not even going to go there. That's another video. That's another podcast. I'm not even going to go there with that bullshit. But I'm going to tell you right now. I have to say this, and I got to say this. Fellas, you got to, before you run off to another country thinking that the grass is always green, you got to work on yourself. You got to work on yourself, and you got to work on dealing with these. Unfortunately, you have to deal with these American women. You have to reckon, and the only reason why I would have to say you have to deal, I'm not saying marry them, I'm not saying have babies with them, I'm not saying waste your goddamn time. Your time is valuable, and you got to recognize the bullshit that's coming out of these women's mouths. Okay? So that's why if they're running game on you, you'll be able to recognize it right away, because you know that's women have. Different women in this country, they have different game plans, but it's all the same. It's their objective is to confuse you and control you. All right? I want you to remember that. To confuse and control you. Without some of these niggas here who are so-called dating coaches or life coaches or whatever, they seem to think that I'm somewhat angry. And brothers, you should be angry. You should be angry because if you pass 35, 40, or around my age, and you just you went through the ringer at a young age because of some punk ass bitch, you should be angry. You have every right to be angry. And I'm not going to stop you from being angry. But there's a time where you just got to start healing. And you got to pick yourself up and recognize game. Unfortunately, if you're in this country, you're going to have to run some game on these bitches. All right? I mean, it's not what you want to hear. But the reality is that the bullshit that you're going to get here, you're going to get it overseas. And you might as well, and the bullshit is from these peasant girls is not as sophisticated as the ones out here. All right? You're going to have to deal with some bullshit. Either way, you're going to have to deal with some bullshit. So you might as well get your game together. Go out. Don't be a lame. If you're a lame, try to be an interesting lame. I can't tell you what that is. It really depends on the chick that you're trying to go after, all right? You also got to create profiles on these women. Believe me, there are profiles on these women. I recognize these profiles of these women. I know who's a bullshitter. I know who's criminal, who's going to gain. I know the ones that's going to gain you. I know the ones that are somewhat nice, but they want thugs or whatever. I can't help that. But you have to go ahead and break out of that. Break out of your comfort zone. And you got to start talking to these hoes. And you're going to have to develop a resistance to it. Just anything else that you have to do, you got to practice at it. Anything that's worth it, worth going for is you have to practice for. Like Allen Iverson said it best. Practice. Yeah, nigga, you got to practice. That's all I got to say. And you should have been practicing when you were a teenager or a young adult while you were in college. But now you're a grown man in your 40s talking about fuck these bitches. And I did it. But no. You got to recognize what these bitches are. These bitches are no good. 99% of them are trash. Especially the baby mamas. You, nigga, leave those baby mamas alone. Don't get into any because one thing is you're going to get into a confrontation with the baby daddy. Do you really want to spend your time, your valuable time, fighting with a non-nigga that's not even the house, trying to tell you how to run your house because his nappy-headed child is in your house that you're taking care of? Okay? He ain't eager to. If he had a problem with you, with his child or children in your house, then how come he didn't just say, hey, let me go ahead and take my children and raise them? I said, you know what? You need to go ahead and take your children and raise them. I'm working on my wife. That's my wife over here. She ain't going nowhere. That's why I really think that baby mamas and baby daddies should really try to work things out and get married. Fuck it. You might as well. But if you have multiple children with multiple women or multiple men, I can't help you with that. And fellas, you got to recognize that women that have multiple children with multiple men are no good. They're not marriage material. Leave that broad alone. She's gonna die alone. Just go ahead, just use up a whole box of condoms on this bitch and go on about your business. All right. Now, somebody might say, "Hey, talking crazy." There are some good baby mamas out there that's looking for a good man. No, nigga. Leave that bitch alone. 2 children with 2 different men. No. Leave that bitch alone. Leave that bitch alone. Leave that bitch alone. I'm going to say it one more time. Leave that bitch alone. All right? Now, let me go ahead and talk about Kwame Brown because it's going to tie into the interracial, the half-breeds. Now, Kwame Brown, you know his history, right? Washington Wizards, first-round draft pick out of high school, right? Georgia boy, South Carolina boy, raised in Georgia. Didn't have a stellar career. Somewhat of a disappointment as being a number 1 overall pick. Expected to be the next Shaq or Darryl Dawkins or even Moses Malone. You expect him to even be a Moses Malone, but that didn't happen. But the thing about it is, he's not a scrub. He had lasted in the league for 12 seasons. Scrubs usually get washed out even before preseason or at the end of their rookie, at the end of their 3-year contract, rookie deal, or they get released during training camp because they ain't that good. Kind of like Anthony Bennett. Now Anthony Bennett was a scrub. Okay. All right. Those of you who know who Anthony Bennett is, he was a first-round overall pick, big man center. A few years ago, out of UNLV, was a scrub. Dominated in college, couldn't do shit in the NBA. But you guys got to understand something about the NBA and professional sports, particularly the NBA. They know who they want. They vetted these guys, and they know who is going to be a productive player in the NBA, who's going to be a superstar, and who's going to be a bust. And they vetted these guys. And I was just thinking about it because Lonzo Ball, he was vetted and he passed. So that's why, okay, it didn't work out in LA. He got a job down in New Orleans, and he might move on to New York. But his brother, he wasn't vetted. They said, whoever is the governing body of the NBA, they said nope. Because number one, his dad pulled him out of college because he was involved in some stupid shit, shoplifting in China, shoplifting at a goddamn shoplifting expensive sunglasses at the store in the airport, thinking that he won't get caught because there's video cameras all over the place, and China knows how to solve crimes, even shoplifting crimes. They'll catch you. Because Chinese niggas don't do that shit out there. Only dumb, ignorant, ghetto, black niggas do that shit. And stupid white trash niggas do that shit. They're the only ones that will go to another country and act a goddamn fool and expect that the U.S. consulate is going to save you. Well, let me clue you in. The consulate ain't going to save you, nigga. You commit a crime over there, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. Because let me tell you something, the trial is going to be done in their language. You're going to be assigned a lawyer that don't speak English, nigga. And then when you go to jail, because you will be going to jail, you're going to be going to a prison that makes the U.S. prison seem like a country club. Oh, you're going to find out. Okay? Then if you think I'm playing, go over there and act a fool over in these countries and find out and have them lock your black ass up. See how, yeah. Well, I'm not even going to go there. All I got to say is watch Locked Up Above. I think what that show is on A&E. Locked Up from Above. I think it was on Discovery. I think you need to check out that series, and you find out how these niggas come back to the U.S. all fucked up. You think it's something going to a U.S. prison, spending time up in Fort Leavenworth or at Rikers Island. How that fucks with it. Go to these foreign prisons, see how you're gonna come out. When you go overseas, these niggas are not playing with you. I'm just a word of advice. So anyway, Kwame Brown. Gilbert Arenas was on this podcast of Up in Smoke with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. Now, they had made some comments about Kwame Brown during this time when he was with the Wizards. And it was, again, disparaging comments about a man who never really said much of anything during his career, after his career, about his time with the Wizards. Now, he may have put up a podcast. He has a channel even well before this occurred, and he posted some video. I think it's Kwame Brown, the Bust Life, and it was something I'm going back to his videos, and this seems a little bit interesting. He's an interesting guy, but he went off on Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, calling him the Becky with the good hair. Now, Matt Barnes is the half-breed tough guy. Now, to really be honest, I think Matt Barnes knows more about black folks and black history than the average black man. Okay. My opinion is, I give my stamp of approval because he's a half-breed and he claims his black side of his family. I'll give him a pass on that. But my thing is about half-breeds, the product of a tragic arrangement between a black man and a white woman, or a white woman and or a white man and a black woman. I mean, anytime that you're in a tragic arrangement with a white person, you're going to have a product of that union who happens to be a half-breed child. Now, a lot of us believe that when you, especially Dr. Umar Johnson, who believes that one drop of blackness, you're automatically African. That bullshit. No, you're not African because you have one drop of blood. You're not black because based on that. That's the white man's rationale. Because they don't want half-breeds to be integrated in white society. That's why they have the one drop rule, fool. Because a lot of these half-breed children look like white men and women. And they don't want no nigger blood mixing with no white man. They don't. In the United States society, there is no such. They don't want half-breed. They don't want the half-breeds to mix with white society. So that's why they automatically throw them in black society. And that's where the confusion and the bullshit begins. All right, you have these children from a product of an interracial marriage, a tragic arrangement, all come out all confused because they have no idea who they are. They're angry. A lot of them are angry and confused, like Matt Barnes, angry. And the only problem I have is fighting with another black man, a light-skinned black man, over his 40-year-old ex-wife. Okay? He was going out with his 40-year-old ex-wife. You're fighting over that bitch. The fuck is wrong with you? You're fighting over an old woman. You actually beat this man up over an old woman. Now I understand in guy code, he should have let you know that, hey, I'm dating your ex-wife. Why are you sleeping? I get that. But I'm not fighting. Let me tell you something. I'm not fighting anybody over my ex-wife. Whether it's my ex-wife, my ex-girlfriend, my ex-booty call. I'm not fighting another nigga over that. Fuck her. And fuck him too. They deserve each other. I've moved on. What the fuck is wrong with you? But see, when you're a half-breed beta male, you do stupid shit like this. Me, on the other hand, I don't give a fuck about these hoes. You understand what I'm saying? They can do whatever they want to do. And when they do, and when they crash and burn, and they usually do, I'm just going to be chilling with my Cavassier and Coke, and I'm just going to be enjoying my time on my balcony, and I'm just going to live life the way life intended to be. Okay? And the only reason why I'm saying Kwame Brown made some great points about Stephen A. Smith, the Breakfast Club, who tried to disparage his character again by talking about his brother and his father. Charlemagne. So he clapped back. Steven Jackson talking about how he pays for pussy. Now, fellas, let me just touch on that real quick. Whenever you're with a woman, whether it be an American woman, a foreign woman, a woman from Venus, a woman from Mars, a woman from Saturn, a woman on an asteroid somewhere, floating around on the asteroid somewhere, nigga, you're gonna be paying for it you're gonna be paying for women for the rest of your goddamn life. You're gonna buy, but you have to buy the pussy. You shouldn't be paying for the pussy. When you buy the pussy, you are in control. That's anything in life. If you're a buyer, you are in control. If you're paying for it, they are in control of the price. They are in control. Understand that business concept. When you're buying shit, you're setting the price. If you're paying for it, they're setting the price. So if he's paying for pussy, Stacks is paying for pussy, I ain't mad at you. I mean, I don't see what the problem is when you're paying for pussy. You're always paying for the pussy. You're paying for the Twizzler now when you're married. So what's the problem? That's not a bad thing. Well, that's not always a bad thing. And then he made fun of Matt Barnes. Which is what's even funnier. And then he went in on Charlemagne the God, radio personality, worked under Wendy Williams for a little bit, South Carolina born, had some legal troubles, and Kwame Brown brought that shit up, where he allegedly raped a young underage girl, and he pled down to contributing to the delinquency of a minor. So that means I don't know the whole story behind it. Apparently he got this bitch drunk and took the pussy. Not cool. Not cool at all. If it did happen. Alright? It's not cool at all. You can't, I'm gonna be honest with you. We can't be cool if you're up here taking pussy. Alright? You can't be in my circle if you're up here taking pussy. If you're a subscriber right now and you took pussy from a woman, unsubscribe right now. Just unsubscribe. Because I don't need you on. I don't need you as a listener. It's not a cool thing to do. And that sounds like a sexual deviant. You're better off just buying pussy. You're better off. You have more respect for me if you're up here buying pussy. But if you're up here having to drug a woman, take the pussy, nah, player. I can't roll with you on that. Alright? So if there's a question that Charlemagne the God is up there taking pussy from a woman, I think he should just resign. Plain and simple. That's just my opinion. So, if he took the pussy, then he should just resign. And now he got a cease and desist where he can't really talk about the Breakfast Club, Kwame Brown. And he's just going in. And deservedly well. He should go in because everybody was fucking with this brother ever since he got into the league. as an 18, 19-year-old young man. It's been 20 years and y'all still talking about this man having a career where he may have underachieved in his career. But the NBA knew what they were getting, and that's why he survived 12 years in the league. Because there had to be some sort of goddamn talent for him to stay in the league for 12 years. And I'll put it out there. He was vetted to be in the league for that long. I'm sorry to break this to you. 12 years, number one pick. There's a reason why there was a reason why he lasted 12 years in the league. I'm just saying. Well, listen, I don't want to take up too much of y'all brothers and sisters' time. I'm just going to go ahead and chill for a minute. But I'll be back with another podcast later on. And this is Talking Crazy 88. And I am out of here. And black folks, let's be careful out there, all right?